Good morning, everyone. My name is Ricky, and today I'm going to talk about the 4 tendencies. Dun. First of all, Happy New Year. How many of you have written down your New Year's resolution? If you do, please raise your hand. Okay, next page. As we can see in this case, I believe most of us want ourselves to be better. But what exactly it means to be better, and what motivates us to take actions? The first thing I think we need to think about is, next page, what shapes our life? If bricks are the architecture of buildings, what is the architecture of our life? Does anyone know? Next page. It's habits. According to research, 45% of what we do every day are habitual, performed without many thoughts about it. So here comes the question: how to form a habit or even break a bad one? Is there a fit-for-all solution for everyone? Sadly, no. But, next page. If we are able to know ourselves and know our drawbacks, we are able to form habits and we can take strategy that fit for us. So today I'm going to introduce to you the 4 strategies from a book called Better Than Before. So the 4th strategy literally means that 4 kinds of people are characterized based on the different responses to outer expectations and inner expectations. So upholders respond very well to both the expectation, and rebels do the opposite. Next page. So first, I'll introduce to you the upholders. Next page. Upholders, they wake up and think, every day they wake up and they ask themselves, what's on schedule and the to-do list today? They try to follow rules and then avoid making mistakes and letting people down, including themselves. So obviously they respond well to expectations and they have no trouble making resolutions or meeting deadlines. But sometimes they may search rules beyond rules, for example, in the example of art. And what's the downside of being an upholder? The downside of it is that when the expectations are not clear or the rules are yet established, they might feel confused or struggle to do things. So next page. For example, for a husband who has an upholder wife, he said, if something is on schedule, my wife is going to do it. When we were in Thailand, we planned to visit a certain temple and we went, even though she got food poisoning the night before and was thrown out on our way there. So she's an upholder and she wants to do what's on schedule. Next page. Questioners. Questioners, they question everything and they ask themselves every day, what needs to get done today and why? Why is the key here. They respond to expectation only when they make sense to them. So they are motivated by reason, logic, and fairness. And because they already decided for themselves what they are going to do, so they don't follow things that lack sound purposes. And next page. So they are more intellectually engaged and they do research on almost everything. So the downside of it is that if you are meeting someone of a questioners, you might get annoyed because they may ask almost everything. Why did you do this? Why this project is gonna work? So for example, I can keep a resolution if I think it's important, but I wouldn't make a New Year's resolution because January 1st is just a meaningless date. Next page. I suffer from analysis paralysis because I always want to have one more piece of information. Next page. Okay, the 3rd type, obligers. Obligers have no trouble meeting outer expectations, but they have trouble meeting their own inner expectations. So they think to themselves, what must I do today? They are motivated by external accountability. In other words, they are motivated by what people ask them to do. So for themselves, they sometimes might use external accountability to help them do things they wanted to do themselves. For example, next page. Promises made to yourself can never be broken. It's the promises made to others that should never be broken. So for example, next page. They might feel a certain self-sacrifices. They may ask themselves, why do I always make time for other people's priorities at the expense of my own priorities? Next page. And some of them might even, in this case, I wanted to go to a basketball game, but I never went. I bought season tickets with my brothers, and now I go because she's annoyed if I don't show. So, obligers are motivated by others, not by themselves. Next page. And here comes the last category, rebels. Rebels, they resist both inner and outer expectation, and they first ask themselves, what do I want to do in the morning? They resist control and even self-control, and they get a kick out of following rules and expectation. They place high values on authenticity and self-determination. So, in other words, they don't care about what you see and even how they think of themselves. And the downside of it is obvious. They have difficulty meeting both inner and outer expectations, so it's difficult for them to form a habit. Next page. So they will often say, I'll show them, because they'll just try to do the opposite of what they ask of. For example, no one thinks I can get to a good college. I'll show them. Next page. And for parents who have rebel kids, they may think the best way to wrangle the rebel kid is to give a kid information to make a decision, present an issue with a question that he alone can answer, and let him make a decision and act without telling you. Let him make a decision without an audience. Because without an audience, it means there's no expectation, so he won't do the opposite of what other people ask him to do. Next page. So after introducing the 4 categories, I think the takeaway is self-knowledge is the beginning of self-improvement. If we want to form a habit, we have to know our own drawbacks and our tendency. And if you would like to know more information on how to target, how strategy can do for each of the categories, you can read this book. Next page. And thank you for your attention. Any questions?